Good morning everyone, you are welcome to today's corset class. I am G Joy. We'll be learning how to draft the corset pattern using bra cups. Now you can get ready-made bra cups for your bra size, or you can make yours with wadding. You can check my YouTube channel on how to make bra cups using wadding at Joydala Fashion Guide. So we'll be using this board for illustration. Let's go to the board. So on the board we have a basic bodice pattern. This is the front bodice. On this side is the back bodice. I hope you are familiar with this pattern. I already have the armhole drawn out for the front bodice. This is the chest line. This is the bust line. Then this is the under bust line. And this is the waistline. For a corset pattern, you need to have your measurement right. Okay? First of all, you need to impute the vertical measurements, which are from the shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, and then shoulder to waist. Shoulder to bust point is simply, that is the middle of the breast. If you put your tape on the breast like this, this is the bust point, and then here is the under bust, and then here is the waist. The waist is around the navel region. So you also need to have your bust circumference measurements, the roundness of the breast, then the under bust. So you need the bust circumference measurement, the bust circumference. You need this measurement. Then you need the under bust measurement, the under bust. This is the under bust, and then you need the waist measurement. Another measurement you need is the bust span measurement. The bust span measurement is the distance from one nipple to another, which we call nipple to nipple. So you also need that measurement. So having take note of your measurements, you have to note them down. For a corset top that you are going to be making with a bra cup, the first thing here that you have to do is to take note of the bust separation measurement, that is the space between the two breasts. So on the bust line we are going to mark ½ inch. We are going to be marking ½ inch at this bust point, and also on the bust. So when you mark ½ inch, this is on fold. It means that you have marked 1 inch. This is also on fold. So you connect that distance that you want like this. So after you have done that, the next thing you want to do is to put the bust span measurement divided by 2. The bust span divided by 2, which we also call the nipple to nipple. Okay, so the bust span I'm working with is 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. 4 inches. So I will mark that on the bust line and on the waistline. Okay, so don't forget, this is our starting line. This line here is our starting line. For a corset, you do not really need the upper part, except you want yours to have a yoke. Then you can leave it for a guide. It can guide you on the main pattern. So on the bust line, I'll mark 4 inches. I also mark the same 4 inches on the waistline. I'll connect that with a ruler. So once you have done that, the next thing is to get your cup, the cup that you are going to use. You make the cup to sit on this under bust line. You make the middle to rest on this dart that you have marked here. So you take your cup and position it, making sure that it rests on this place as well, this bust area. Making sure that it rests here and here, and then you mark where it ends. So you place your cup on your pattern paper like this, making sure that it's resting here and here, and then you draw it out. Like this, just align it out with your pencil or your marker. Also take note of the front coverage. So this is the outline of the cup. This is the outline of the cup. So we'll connect this to the armhole side. You can use your French curve to do that. You can use your French curve. You can place your French curve on it like this. The corset is, the armhole of the corset will go ½ inch below the chest line. ½ inch below the chest line. Like this. So this is the fullness of the cup. Now if your corset, if you want it to have a yoke, then this part becomes the yoke. That means you are going to start your pattern from the shoulder side. It means that you are going to start your pattern from the shoulder. You are going to have a shoulder, you are going to have a neckline. It means that you are going to have a neckline. You have 4 inches here marked out as a neckline. So it means that you are going to have a neckline. And then you're going to have your shoulder slope and the armhole curve, and then this becomes the yoke. If you want your corset cup to have a yoke. Now if you want more coverage for the bust or for the bra cup, if you want more coverage, you determine the coverage that you want. For example, this chest area is from, this is 9 inches, so it will expose the breast. So if you want your breast to be covered, you can do a depth of 7 inches. Okay, you can do a depth of 7 inches. So if you are going to do that, this is how you do it. You just mark this 7. So this point will now be the point that you are going to use for the yoke. And then you can now recreate another neckline. Okay, you can recreate probably a sweetheart neckline. Okay, so you can make the neckline above this chest area. You can go up by 1 inch. go in by half, and then you connect this to this. So you only use this if you want a fuller coverage. Okay, in that case you now blend it into the armhole. Okay, but if you want to make use of only the corset part, then you don't need this. You now make use of this place. Okay, in that case you will not need this. And then this will be the neckline of the corset. The corset is coming like this. Sorry, from here, then it goes like this. Okay, so having done that, the next thing you want to do is to take a dart on this waistline. You take a 1 inch dart on both sides. 1 inch dart on both sides. 1 inch, 1 inch. Then you connect it like a triangle to meet the underbust. You connect like a triangle. Like this. So this is the dart part. You may not need to cut out the dart, but you just pinch it and sew. Okay, so one more thing, having marked out the cup like this, if you want to cut out your pattern, you are going to put 1/2 inch seam allowance around this cup area. You will not cut exactly here. If you cut exactly here, your cup is going to be too wide. So you are going to put 1/2 inch allowance around the sides like this. So this is what we have so far. Very easy, right? Very easy to draft corsets with bra cups. So that is all. The next thing to do is to impute the bust circumference measurement, the underbust measurements, and then the waist measurements. So the bust circumference divided by 4, what you have, you place it on this bust line. Okay, but when you are taking your bust measurements, you take it with the bra cup on it. Okay, take it with the bra cup like this. So here is where we have 10, and then you take the under bust. Then you take the waist measurement, you impute the waist. Then this dart on the waistline, you replace it 2 inches, you replace it. And then on this bust line, you also put in your sewing allowance. So I've not put for the waist, no space again. Then you just connect it like this. You connect it By the time you add the allowance, the waist will come something like this. Okay. So this becomes this part is the center front, while this side is the side front. Okay, so you can take this, so you are cutting this, you can extend this. Okay, you can extend it. When you cut it out, you are going to have something like this. This is that separation at the middle, the 1 inch. 1 inch. Okay, so this is this dot line. I cut it, then just push the paper back and use masking tape to take it so that I can have it as one single piece. Okay, you can do it like that, or you simply fold your pattern and just sew along the dart like this. You just sew it, you don't need to cut it. Okay, so this is how the front pattern will look like. So this front pattern, if you notice, you will observe that there is no, I didn't put the allowance, so you have to add the allowance. I just use the pattern like that for this. But when you are cutting on fabric, when you place this pattern on fabric, make sure you add the 1/2 inch allowance. The 1/2 inch allowance will start from here. You add it from here round to this side. From here you also add 1/2 inch round to this side. So that is just all for the front bodies. Let's look at how to cut the back. The back is very, very easy and simple. Once you have cut out this side, okay, you just place it on top of the back bodice pattern. This is a back bodice pattern. Okay, you can see it is a complete bodice pattern, but we don't really need this side except you want a yoke. Then you can also have this side as the yoke. But what you do is that make sure that the side corresponds. So where this side ends, you just mark it. Make sure that this side also ends the same line. You see, it ends there and here. Okay, and then this is the bust line. This line is our bust line. We do not need under bust for the back. This is the waistline. Okay, and then because it's going to have a zipper, we have a zipper allowance. So the zipper allowance depends on you. It can be 1 inch, it can be 1.5 inch. But when you are taking your measurement will start after this zipper line. Okay, let me just redraw this line out. This is where your measurement will start from. But when you are folding your fabric, the fabric starts from here. You'll be folding the fabric into 2. Okay, so this line, just extend it because it's going to cut through the zipper area. So you're going to cut through the zipper area. So for the back bodice, so after you have traced out where it's reached like this, the next thing to do is to put the darts from this line, this edge. You measure your 4 inches, measure it on the waist and also on the bust line. You take a ruler and connect Then the dart will also go 1 inch above the bust line. That is where it's going to stop. 1 inch above the bust line. So to just stop at this line here before the chest line. This is the chest line. Okay, so then we take 1/2 inch on both sides, like a triangle form. We connect towards the chest line like this. So this is the dart. So if you like, you will not also cut it out, you just pinch it. If you like, you cut it out. Okay, so that is just all for the back. If you want the back to be like this, then you just use it. If not, if you want the back to go up, maybe for coverage, then you can do that. Okay, but if you want the back to just be like a tube back, you just maintain it like this, the same level. Okay, but if you want your back maybe to cover, then you can decide to, it depends on you what you want, you can decide to go up by 2 inches. So this totally depends on you. You can decide to go up by 2 inches, or maybe from this side you just slant it to this side so that your back can cover. So that totally depends on you what you want. So you can decide to have your back like this. So it depends on what you want. If you want a yoke, use it as a yoke. If you do not want a yoke, then if you want it straight, you just make use of this place straight. Then there will be no need for this. You just make use of it straight. So the next thing is just to impute the bust measurement. The bust circumference divided by 4. You place your measurements like this. We have a small dart here. You replace it. It's 0.25, and then you now add your seam allowance. Then for this back piece, there is no need for the under bust. There is no need for this. Just go straight to the waistline and impute your waist circumference divided by 2. Take note, your measurement starts from here and not from here. So from here like this, you put in the measurement, and then this dart, the 1 inch dart, you replace it. Replace the dart, and then the same allowance that you have made up your mind to use, you also impute it, and then you just connect this to this. So remember that your pattern is on fold. So once you are through like this, you cut these sides open, and that is just all for the back pattern. So at the end of the day, you are going to have something like this. This one I cut it out, but you don't really need to cut it out. You can simply just fold and sew. Okay, so this is a pattern for all my papers are finished of making. I've been using them for making patterns. So this is what I have. So this is the zipper. Okay, so you see where the dart, this where it ends here. Then I wanted some more coverage at the back, so I extended this back. Okay, This one actually has a yoke, so I extended it, so that is why the armhole is among it. So if you want yours, you can also extend, okay, and cut it along this yoke line. So if you want yours to have, if you want your own to have the armhole length, then you determine the length of this yoke. Okay, you can measure it. If maybe you want 7 from the shoulder, you mark your 7. You also mark the 7 here, and then you will now have it along here, and then to carry this armhole. So that is how we have the armhole. So you are going to have 2. You cut here open, and you are going to have 2. So this is how it's going to be. Okay. So this is the zipper region. After sewing, you are going to have, it's going to be like this. So you have come to the end of this class. I hope you can now draft a corset pattern using bra cups. It's very, very easy. Okay. Until next time when I see you again, I remain G Joy. Next class we'll be looking at how to draft a 2-piece corset, okay, with loop. Instead of zipper, we'll look at how to make the loop. Okay. So have a blessed